Hey, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and back here with yet another PlayStation 5 related tutorial. This one's going to be quick, just like the other one that I've covered, and the first time around we actually ended up taking a M.2 NVMe SSD and we installed it on a PlayStation 5, showing how you can expand the storage on there pretty easily as long as you have an accompanying firmware update to unlock that capability. Well, here, this one actually doesn't require any specific firmware, which is great, but this is going to be showing you all a couple methods in which you can unlock and utilize the PS5 web browser. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to be a specific application here. It's not like, on the PS3 or PS4 where you could just go and look for the internet browser and load it up. There is an internet browser on the PlayStation 5, but you're going to have to work a little bit for it. And there's going to be two methods that you can access it. Now, there are some others, one or two others out there, but I'm covering these two because they are extremely simple. The first one is going to require you to be on PlayStation Network, and the second one is not going to require you to be on PlayStation Network, but for either method, you will need a network connected onto your PlayStation 5, whether that is through wired internet or Wi-Fi. So first of all, let's take a look at the PlayStation Network method. You have to be online, you have to be signed into PlayStation Network, and you have to have at least one friend on your PlayStation Network account that you are able to message. Before we do any of this, we also have to come up here to our settings, go down to System, and go down to Web Browser. And you're going to have to make sure Allow Cookies, Enable JavaScript are enabled. Those ones are already enabled by default, and sure, prevent cross-site tracking is fine. These are all the default settings, but just make sure that these two have been enabled. Next up, we can go ahead and load up our friends list, and specifically we're going to have to message a friend. Now when you message your friend, it's really this simple. You just have to message them the website that you want to access, and you're going to make sure you have to hit www. And then enter in the rest of the website. So it's going to look exactly like this. Now there's just a couple basic websites I'm using here. The first one is Google, and when you send out your message, you then want to highlight the message that you've sent and then press the X button on it. And as you can see, it loads up like that. I did reload it just right there, but let's do that again. And from here, you can sign in, do whatever you need to, but you can access any other websites that you need to on this. So like Wikipedia, let's try this out, for example. Try that out, and as you can see, that was the Twitter for it, but you're able to access this website that easily. Now, you could also zoom in with R3. I'm just going to keep it to default. You can press the options button and you can reload, you can go forward, backwards, you can change your zoom, you can of course resize this, check page information, and you can close this out as well as pinning to the side so you can have both like your messages tab and your web browser up and running on here. That's really about all there is to it. Now, accessing Google is great because you can access anything from there. However, do keep in mind that using this method, you can just access the website directly that you're needing to as long as you have the direct link to it. So the second website I'm also trying out, which yes, I know this is redundant because there is an app for this, but regardless, we're still able to try this out here, is YouTube. So yet again, I message my friend the YouTube site. You can press X on here and check it out. The site is able to load without any issues. Now, the cool thing is as well too, is I'm not going to have any audio specifically playing on here, and you will have to probably disable the background audio of the PlayStation 5 itself, so you don't have the XMB music playing there. But the cool thing is, this is a pretty fleshed out and working web browser. Like you can see right here, videos seem to play with pretty much no issues. I'm not going to do that for now. And as you can see, this is actually working, and if I had my PS5 unmuted for this video, you would be able to listen to the music that is playing right here. So even, let's see if I can, no, it doesn't look like I can go into full screen mode. I can go into theater mode, but I can't go into full screen mode. So this is a pretty capable browser here, which is really cool to see. So that's about it on this. However, again, this method right here does require PlayStation Network access because you have to access your friends list and you have to message a friend. Now that covers the first method, which I feel like most people are going to use and they're going to be perfectly comfortable utilizing. However, there is a second method which ends up redirecting your user guide. If you've used a modified PlayStation 4 before, you're going to be well familiar with this method here. The only caveat to this is that this is going to block PlayStation Network access while you have this enabled. So it can be good for people who want to stay offline, who want to stay on an older firmware, but if you want to have PlayStation Network access and your web browser at the same time, you're going to have to probably stick to method 1 as opposed to using the second method right here. This one I do want to give a shout out and thank you to Al Azif because we are going to be utilizing their web host for this. I will have links down below for this in the description, but we're going to be utilizing the PS4 exploit host. Now, we're not doing any exploitation, we're not utilizing the PlayStation 4 here, obviously, but there is a use case that we can use this for. And really what we're going to look for is going to be down here. You're going to look for using remote DNS, running nothing locally, and you're going to want to look for a couple of IP addresses. The first one right here for primary, and the second one for secondary. I'm going to show them in the video, but I'm also going to link this down below in the description in case in the future these IP addresses are ever updated. So you can refer to the GitHub page here directly and find the newly updated IP addresses. Setting this up is pretty simple. First, you're going to want to go over to your settings. You're going to want to go to network. And from here, you're going to want to go down to your settings and go to setup internet connection. Now you probably already have an internet connection up and running, and if you do, this works on wired or wireless. You can just press the options button when you highlight your network, or you're going to want to set one up manually, but regardless, if you have a network already set up here, you'll press options, and then you're going to want to go to advanced settings. When you're at advanced settings, you're going to want to go to DNS settings, which is probably set to automatic, and you're going to change this to manual. At this point, you need to set both your primary and secondary DNS settings to the same numbers that are shown in that GitHub page. Now, if you see them on screen here and you'd like to copy them, that's easier, that works out. Yet again though, if these have been updated, you're going to want to refer to the GitHub page I had just shown you all. So once you have your DNS plugged in, you want to go to OK. So at this point, you should see that your network is working, your internet connection is working, but PlayStation Network is going to fail. And that is expected. This DNS server is designed so that it's going to block PlayStation and Sony sites. So your console will not be able to stay connected to PSN while this is up and running. However, to access this, it's very simple. You don't go through your friends list, but you're going to come up here, go to settings, go to users guide yet again, and we're going to say yes to this. And right here, this page will come up, which this is the Al Azif PS4 exploit host. Now, it might do some caching on here as well too, which that will just happen the first time around. But when you're here, you're going to want to tap L2 twice. And once you do that, you're going to get a setting up here called the URL redirector. And right here, we can just hit our URL we want. So I'm going to do youtube.com, for example, press done, and hit submit. Interesting, I'm getting this here. I'm just gonna hit OK on that. Let's go ahead and try that again. So I'm going to do this. Let's try a different website. Let's do Google, for example. So google.com, that's normally pretty hardy. Submit. There we go, we're able to hit Google. And I'm actually wondering if we can try this out right here. Let's try YouTube from this. So YouTube, coming over here, first link. Okay, and that ends up working, so that is fine. So as you can see, that is what you can do here to access this and get everything going. It's still pretty simple to do. You do go through the user's guide, you still have all these same access, so of course you can do your zoom in and all that stuff right there. Options, reload, back, forward, zoom, resize. Looks like you just can't do the pin right there, and of course you can close out of this, but that is about all you need to do in order to get this set up. So yet again, you go to user's guide. Once this comes up, tap L2, and you're going to use the URL redirector. Now, if you ever want to disable this, which I'm sure you want to if you want to play online, you're going to come over to your settings. you're going to go to Network, go over to Settings, set up Internet connection. Once you find the network you're currently using, press Options, Advanced Settings, and down here, you're going to set your DNS settings back to automatic or back to the manual settings that you were using prior. You can press OK at this point. Anyways, that is about it for this video here. Hopefully it was easy enough to follow along to. Hopefully it helped you all out. If it did, a like would absolutely be appreciated. And if you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone.